What's going on, podcasters and YouTubers? This is Hav here, one of your hosts from the Real Fan Review, coming out of Long Island, New York. With me today, we got our man in the chair, Al.
How's it going, everybody?
Yeah, Al, feel better, brother. We hear it, man. So I was sick last week, so it's all good, brother. It
Okay,
happens. We got my brother, your brother, B.
What's up, everybody?
Yeah, B, new location. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, I had to go into the music room for this one tonight.
There you go. Yeah, man. We apologize to everybody, but I feel like this has happened before where it's the week of Thanksgiving. I think we've missed before also.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
But probably
I
Christmas
think so.
too.
This is yeah, what happens is we get caught up with stuff. I mean, listen, it's busy enough and hectic enough for all of us, man. We all got work, kids, family, and also during this time people get sick a lot also. I was sick the last week, we're not feeling well, so we kind of missed last week. We apologize to everybody, but it was a well-deserved week off for all of us.
Yeah.
Unpaid, guys, so be happy with that. It was unpaid time off.
No
so listen,
handouts.
Man, this week, no, definitely none. Not a sponsor. Handouts. This week we're gonna get you guys back because the last time we left you guys off was with the Black Panther Wakanda review, which is amazing to talk about that movie again. So this week we're gonna get you guys ready for Phase 5. Phase 5 again won't begin until I believe it's February with Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. So we're going to talk about that. But before we get into Phase 5, we got a little treat last week after Thanksgiving. On that Friday, Black Friday, Marvel released we didn't know it was the end of Phase 4, but now we know it's the true end to Phase 4, which was the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. And I'm so glad that we get to talk about it because we really didn't mention it to each other that we were going to see it. We just ended up seeing it, because we're Marvel freaking fans and everything. So let's get right into that review there now. Of course, guys, just a heads up, if you haven't seen it, we're going to go right into it. It's a 45-minute special, so everything we talk about is going to be a spoiler. So let's just get right into it. It's on Disney Plus. Go ahead and check it out.
Yeah.
Al, man, how'd you feel about that Guardian Galaxy special, man? I thought it was actually very special, man. Touching, warm, and just amazing Christmas stuff, man.
Yeah, I was surprised. Like, I really thought it was going to be like a type movie or show, I should say. I was expecting it to be cheesy and so forth. That was anything but, and everything. From bringing out Drax and Mantis and making me even more so want them to have their own full-fledged movie.
Absolutely.
To enjoying how they brought in Kevin Bacon and let him play out through the show. And for everything that they did, for the little pieces of info and everything that they threw out there, for it to have been a 45-minute special, they did a freaking great job, man. It was. I walked away from that just as satisfied as I have from some of their 2.5-hour movies.
Yeah, especially in Phase 4. So.
Yeah, okay. So they did a real good job touching on the emotions and info, bringing in what's his name? The dog. What's his name? Cosmo, and having it be was that from the comic? Was that an ability?
No. It's the collar.
Yeah. It's
the collar is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the collar is translating.
No,
Russian.
the fact that it can move things.
Yeah,
it's telekinetic. Yeah.
Okay, like that. I really enjoyed it. From the way they started the episode, making you think that what's his name had destroyed Christmas for Peter, and then to find what he actually did and how he restored Christmas for him.
Right.
Yeah, man. This was a great special.
Yeah, man. It completely caught me by surprise because I've been kind of like let down a little bit with some of the Disney Plus stuff. So to me, it was just like I didn't know what to expect, and when I started watching it, I got caught right off the bat with the first song, with the first Christmas song, with the complete like taking literal those Christmas stories, and we're like these elves were like circling Santa, and all these other different things that were happening in the story, and I'm like, if you didn't know any better, yeah, Christmas sounds fucking weird. So I love the first song, even the cheap animation that you see in some of these like old Christmas stories. And the story itself was just beautiful. It was about family. It was about, bringing the joy of Christmas, bringing the understanding of Christmas, and just a lot of little touching stuff there. So I really, really enjoyed it, man. B, how about you, man? What was your thoughts on the Christmas special there?
I thought it was great. I thought that the one special was better than all the Thor movies put together. Like for real. It was so good. It was touching. It was hilarious. You know, I loved, like Al said, the introduction of Cosmo, which was hilarious because the voice is the actress from the new Borat movie. Um,
Oh yeah, yeah.
so
Put
I
the
was like
voice on.
cracking up because I'm listening to this voice. I'm like, I know this voice from somewhere. And then I saw who it was, and I was like, oh, that's so good because I love her. Like, that's great. Um,
Yeah,
a really great use of Mantis because her actress,
yeah,
Palm Clementif, like, dude, she got no love at all in these last couple movies that she's been in. And to have like this like her be a centralized character of this, being like she's a central guardian now, and we didn't like kind of
hmm
feel like that. She kind of was like a supporting character. Now she's like a guardian, and she's great. I thought
yeah.
she was so good in this. Her and Drax, the comedy was awesome. Um, the one scene where she's leaping after Kevin Bacon will haunt me in my nightmares, though. That was terrifying.
Yeah, that was
Uh,
definitely a little freaky.
that
It was a
was
little freaky for
terrifying.
jumping around.
But like, kudos to Kevin Bacon as well. Um, I hope that there's no multiverse thing where he gets attacked from the X-Men
hmm
because he was the bad guy in the first class movie. He he was from the Hellfire Club.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
Right, right.
I was like, what is this a multiverse thing? But I'm glad that the Kevin Bacon bit actually worked. And it
Yeah.
was very cool to have it all come together. Once again, a really sentimental story that was hilarious and really kind of something we've been missing from some of these movies.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something I was telling some of my coworkers and people that I talk to about these Marvel stuff. It's like this has been like the realization of what Disney Plus could really be.
Yeah,
I appreciate their attempts with these like, episodic shows that they do. But I think with like a 45-minute thing, they can concentrate on just the freaking story, not put in those filler episodes or maybe like leave off some of the nonsense. Cause even that one last special, the Werewolf by Night, was pretty interesting also.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like this was just absolutely great. It was surprising. But let's talk a little bit about like some of the stuff that I didn't even realize until this special brought it out. Al, and that's the fact that Mantis is Star-Lord's sister in
yeah,
a sense. We get the whole thing with ego, and I think it was implied in volume 2 there. But yeah, man, Mantis is Star-Lord's sister, and I thought the way they played on that, and again, the ending was beautiful, man.
yeah.
Didn't see it coming, man.
No, no, it was good because I never really. I mean, I guess because, like B said, she was always more kind of like a background character.
Right.
Like that, I never tried to analyze what she was to Ego, other than like an assistant. Like that's what
Right.
I thought she was in the movie,
Mhm.
and that she just then came over to the Guardians after the movie. So I really never try to analyze it, but it makes sense now because when he
Right.
did the scene of all the women he had been with on the planets as he was seeing them, one of them was somebody from her planet.
Right.
So it kind of makes sense, and it was a good way of bringing her more, and a good reason to bring her all of a sudden into the forefront.
Mhm.
Um, and the actress, she did her thing because that one fight scene, where she was fighting who was it, the guards or somebody, and she was like,
Mhm.
I was like, wow, why didn't we ever see this from Mantis in these
Yeah.
movies other than sitting on people's head telling them to go to sleep? Like,
Sleep.
Sleep.
yeah, kid. I mean, she was handling business even better than Drax was in that scene. So
Yeah.
I was like, wow. And kudos to the actress for waiting and being patient, and getting her shine now. And I just want to see how that's going to play out though. In like, are they introducing that now so that it does have already an impact in 3 when 3 comes out? You know,
Yeah.
I don't know because they still didn't even mention Gamora that much.
No,
You
they
know, they
mentioned it
was
briefly.
yeah, they they kept mentioning that he was down,
Right.
but they didn't ever mention that, because of her.
Yeah.
So, and and then at the end for him to say, "Yo, this was the greatest gift I could have gotten," and I just want to see now how their dynamic takes, unfolds going forward,
Yeah.
and hopefully not in a way that it takes away too much from the other storyline of him and Gamora reestablishing theirs, if they even do that now.
Right. Yeah, we'll see where it goes. And again, I think it's one of those things, like you said, it's kind of like when we get to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, we'll already know that nowhere is now something that the Guardians own. They own that I don't want to say planet because it's the head of a celestial. So they already own that. That's part of their thing. And then this relationship, as far as like that brother and sister bond that they're going to probably create and feed on in Volume
Hmm.
3 is going to be amazing to see, man.
Yeah.
B, something else that was also a fantastic part of this thing is we mentioned Drax. We got more Drax, and we got the combination of Drax and Mantis together, which is something that we've been asking for since Volume 2 because of their connection and
Because
their
they
the
fucking hate each
joking, their
other.
banter. How about even he hates her. He's like, "You're an ugly woman." You know? I think in Endgame he was all over. Not Endgame, Infinity War. He was talking so much shit to her
Yeah.
because they disappeared. They disappeared in Endgame. Um, but tell me, man, what was your thoughts on Drax's part in this movie?
uh Drax was hilarious, and
Yeah.
I give it to Dave Bautista because he is a very adamant person, and he is all about James Gunn, and
Mhm.
his commitment to acting for James Gunn is a testament to him as an actor. He's great because he trusts the director,
Right.
and he lets him lead him. Like, realistically, like Drax is a simpleton, like he's as simple as it gets. But and that can be as an actor, like if you're taking on the role, like you're basically taking on the role of someone stupid, and you're
Mhm.
accepting that. And Dave Batista doesn't strike me as a guy who's like, I don't want to be the stupid guy. Like I'll be the silly guy, but I don't want to be the stupid guy. And so
Right.
for him to like let loose and just be silly because he trusts the director, he trusts the direction that he wants to put his
Mhm.
character. That's awesome. He gave it 100%. It was awesome. I love the fact that apparently his cousin was killed by a GoBot.
That cannot be canon, bro. That cannot be canon. He did not get killed by a freaking GoBot.
Oh, he's upset because his cousin was killed by a GoBot. So what?
Oh my
But
god.
Okay,
I
when they showed him beating up the GoBot in
when
the
he was beating up
background.
the GoBot. That was great. I think they did a really great job with Drax in this one. I mean, they've done a great job with Drax in every single one of them so far, but I think
Mhm.
this one allowed him and Mantis to really set in their relationship. That it seems,
Like their budding friendship, I think,
their
because
budding
Drax is definitely
hatred,
not interested in Mantis.
budding hatred.
Yeah, man. And how about you, B? In regards to the music, B? I mean, some of this original music, which I love when we have original music that actually works, like the Kevin Bacon song,
Oh
the
yeah, that
beginning
was
song,
great. I
right?
didn't think it could be Guardians without music. And
Right.
so when there wasn't any music really, there was no cassette tape, no nothing. I was
Hmm.
really excited to see that opening song about Christmas, and I thought it was hilarious. It hit every mark. It was really good. And then when
Uh-huh.
Kevin Bacon did his song at the end too, I was like, this is great. It's like this 145-minute special had so much in it, and it all worked.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Mm.
And another thing that made it work out is you mentioned it before, Kevin Bacon. You
Yeah.
know, he's playing himself in the MCU, and not that this Kevin Bacon is some like auteur, like or actor, like he's Kevin Bacon. He doesn't have to take roles like this, and I
Yeah.
also think it kind of kills him being in any role in the MCU now, besides maybe a variant of Shaw, was it Brandon?
Yeah,
Sebastian Shaw
Yeah.
Sebastian
from
Shaw,
the
right?
yeah, from the First Class movies. But I mean, he had to be a role where he was basically himself. And I think he did great, man.
He
Even
did
his wife was
awesome.
on his real wife was on the phone too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that they. the phone call cracked me up. I mean, because he did a great job of playing like what anybody that woke up into that situation would be,
Yeah.
from being kidnapped and taken into space and so forth. And the part that cracked me up the most was when he was on the ship and his cell phone starts ringing and he gets a call. He goes, "You guys get reception up here?"
I know. I was like, when they explained it away, I'm like, they needed to do that for Al. They needed to explain that for Al.
Oh, kid, yeah, because if they just be like, yeah. He's like, yeah, there's 4 antennas that. Oh, I was like,
Yeah, that was definitely gonna be a question. Like, your phone rang.
he gets
It's really
reception.
nowhere.
And he's fucking somewhere
You're
in the
telling
galaxy.
me Tony
He
Stark
got better
couldn't get to
reception than I
Pepper?
got somewhere down here.
This guy got better
Yeah,
reception
yeah.
than Tony Stark in Endgame, man.
But that's
Yeah.
why I'm kind of glad that they brought somebody of his caliber on, because if you had brought on any other actor, I think it maybe would have fallen flat. But
Yeah.
we want, you bring somebody of his level, we want to be involved. We want to be a part of this. So I think almost any storyline they gave him, we would have gone along with, because it was him and it was making sense for the show. Because like I said, you put him on there, he finds out he's this guy's role models, for lack of a better way of expressing it.
Right.
They're telling him like, this guy's a hero and you're his hero.
Yeah.
So that's why you're
Yeah.
here.
Wait a minute. You're an actor. We should kill him.
Yeah, they were gonna I think they were gonna dump him in space when they found out or something like that. Yeah.
That
Dude,
was my favorite when they said that. That whole thing. He's
How
just
meta was that shit?
an actor.
That shit was bad meta, dude. Because I'm like, you guys are really funny right now. Because y'all all are actors now. You're like, making you throw up and all that stuff, man. That shit was hilarious.
There's nothing
He just
worse
pretends to
than
be
an
a
actor.
hero.
Nothing worse than the actor. Oh my God. So now listen, before we end the review here of this, and I'm pretty sure we're all across the board. You need to see this. This was amazing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about our favorite gifts for Christmas from this story here, because we had a couple of good ones there. We had, which was beyond me, was not Gamora. What's the Gamora sister's name? Nebula giving Rocket Bucky's arm. That's amazing. That's fucking amazing. And then we had it's not baby, it's fucking Swole Groot, they call him now.
Swole Groot, yeah.
Swole Groot giving out not life size, like actual pictures of people, what they're doing at the moment in diagrams.
Yeah.
My favorite was Kraglin's. Was Kraglin opening up a Kraglin, opening up a Kraglin, opening up a Kraglin, with Kraglin holding it. It was amazing. And then of course, our Star-Lord's best gift, having a sister, man. Brandon, which one was your favorite out of those gifts, brother?
The Bucky one for sure. It was the Bucky arm, because it's just like, they did it on purpose. Like, how the fuck did she get that arm? Like,
Yeah, I'm gonna get that arm.
Like that was great. I loved that one, because I sat there. I was like, what? And even he was like, what the fuck? How did you get Bucky's arm?
How sweet of Nebula, though.
Right?
She's changed, dude. From volume 1 to now,
dude. That little dance.
Oh, she was giving it.
She was hitting
it. Al, how about you, man? Which one was your favorite gift there?
I want to say it was a tie between the arm, just because it wrapped up. Like, you knew they threw that in there on purpose because of the end game. But then but like you said, Groot's gifts, especially when it got, because they were all cool. They were like real nicely carved and everything. And then you get to the last one, and it was like a infinite, like when you watch a picture, a video capture on this monitor that you're capturing, and it just goes into infinity. That's what I thought of when I saw that. I thought that was hysterical that they did that for that last scene.
Yeah, man.
So I mean, it was another reason why I liked the episode, the special, because it showed they weren't taking themselves serious with the special.
Yeah,
they were just, it was for fun, and they were having fun doing it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I love personally the gift of having a sister. That it actually like legitly brought a tear to my eye. I could not believe it because it was like you knew where it was going, but then it was just the way Star Lord and how Mantis played it off. That acting between the two characters and the two actors was absolutely beautiful and amazing. It was just very sweet, touching, and I was just like, wow, that was cute. And I actually really liked this Christmas story. It was really sweet and really good, man. So listen, from me to you guys, it's a need to see. And if you're listening to the us give you the whole spoiler of this thing, yeah, you need to see it either
Yeah.
way. And I'm going to see it again, definitely. This is probably one of my highlights for Phase 5. I mean, for Phase 4. How
Yeah.
about for you, Al? What's your final take on that, man?
Yeah, same thing. That you have to watch it. I mean, it not only does it tie into, I guess, the next phase in terms of getting us ready for the next set of movies, but it's just a great experience. Of family seeing friends going through and doing what they can to help one another and help one of their own, cheer up and get better during a holiday.
Right.
Um, and it's a great show and special for this time of year.
Hmm.
Kind of reminds us what this time of year is meant to remind us about. And I thought they did it in such a funny and enjoyable way,
Yeah.
without like I said, without being too cheesy and corny about it. So definitely go watch it.
B, your final take on it?
This was great. This was better than any Hallmark movie.
Definitely.
Definitely. And it's funny is like didn't need it, but it was great. It was one of the best things to come out of this whole phase. It
Mhm.
was touching, it was sweet. It had a great story, it had great character involvement, it was silly. It had everything that we wanted from this phase was wrapped up in 45 minutes.
Right. Absolutely, man. Yeah, man. Beautiful, man. Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, guys. Man, make sure you guys check that out. And listen, if you're listening on YouTube or if you listen on your podcast play app, email us at therealfanreview@gmail.com. Let us know what you thought about that whole holiday special. Or if you are watching on YouTube, go ahead and comment below on those videos there, notes. Let us know what you guys thought of it. Did you enjoy it as much as we did? Love to see what you guys have to say out there. And that just really brings us right us to the next topic, which is Phase 5 of the MCU. With the ending of Wakanda Forever and all the different stuff that we laid out for Phase 4, we're now going to go into Phase 5, which I have high hopes for. With the trailer for Ant-Man and the Wasp of Quantumania that's coming out in February, I'm very excited for that. I'm hearing rumors of the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 trailer coming out sometime either this week or next week. So let's see what happens with that. But we have a couple things coming out for Phase 5. So I'm going to go ahead and look at my list up here. So if you see my eyes like looking at the top like a crazy person, that's what I'm looking at. So for Phase 5, we have Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, Secret Invasion, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Echo, The Marvels, Loki Season 2, Blade, the Ironheart series on Disney Plus, Agatha, Coven of Chaos on Disney Plus, Daredevil Born Again, 19 episode series coming out on Disney Plus, Captain America, New World Order, and the Thunderbolts. Now, of course, I think there's going to probably be some movement with Blade because I don't even think they have a director. I think they just
They
hired a
just hired
director,
him.
right? So it's like I'm not sure if that's going to really make it in its due date, but we'll see. And with most movies, things could get moved around. Just like Fantastic Four was supposed to be part of this Phase 5, also got moved out. We have the 2 Avenger movies coming out in the next phase as well. But for Phase 5, let's get busy and talk about that there. Again, we have a couple of movies, we have a couple of shows. Is there anything that you're really looking forward to, or is it just Ant-Man and the Wasp because we see the trailer, or is there something that you really want to talk about in this?
I'm excited to see what they do with Daredevil. It's a 19 episode series,
Hmm.
and I'm just not sure. Like I love Daredevil. I love the Netflix series, but that was 13 episodes,
Right.
and for them to shoot for 19, I'm just hoping we don't get a rehash of She-Hulk where it was
Yeah. No.
25 minutes an episode and we're gonna go for like 15 weeks of that. Like I don't know if I'm about that. And
Right.
so I'm curious to see what they do with that. And then once again, I'm really I'm actually really interested in seeing what happens with Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
It's the one show that's just like so wrapped in mystery. Like
Mhm.
even seeing the trailer, I'm like, the fuck is happening? You know, like it's giving me very like Winter Soldier vibes,
Right.
where it doesn't seem like Marvel, but it's gonna work somehow, you
Mhm.
know. And so I'm just super interested in seeing what happens with that show.
Yeah, I mean, same for me. Secret Invasion seems big to me, and the reason why it seems big to me is because the comic book series was so big. It was something that like kind of flipped the whole Marvel universe around when it was in the comic books.
Yeah.
It was almost like, yo, who's a scroll and who isn't? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I feel like that should have been a movie.
Yeah.
That for them to put that on a TV show, and maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like they're gonna downplay it a little bit and not be so crazy with it. Like, in the comic books, it was like superheroes were Skrulls at some point.
Yeah.
But in this one here, how many superheroes besides Rhodey? And I mean, how long has it been rumored online by different blogs and YouTube sites that is a Skrull? I think I've seen Rhodey's a Skrull for the last 3 years of my life. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's almost like he's definitely going to be a Skrull, but who else? And I'm like, in a series like this, it doesn't seem like there's going to be a lot of characters in it. It's going to be the people that they hone in on in the scrolls.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm like, I wonder what they're really going to do, because in the comic books, like again, they changed the game. It was like the president was a scroll,
I
and
feel like it's gonna be the thing that happens in the next series of phases.
right.
Hmm.
So
I
it's
feel
it's
like
going to be
this is like the
crazy.
launch point.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and will it have a huge effect on the Marvel universe? I don't believe so, because it's a Disney Plus show.
Hmm.
So again, my expectations are high, but at the same time, I'm like, with these Disney Plus shows from Phase 4, I'm like, yeah, some of them were like really more missed than hit. So I'm like, let's
Yeah.
see what happens. But I'm also very, very interested in Captain America: New World Order, and I know they have they're saying that the leader might be in it. Something's going on with the Thunderbolts possibly in this movie. Um, I'm with the Captain America series. Those three movies are probably some of the three best movies besides out of the MCU. Just one of the best three sets of movies. That Captain America one, the first Avenger, I don't think it's enough credit for being how good it was for a cheesy character like Captain America. They made Captain America not cheesy. Captain America 2, Winter Soldier, is probably some people's best movie in the MCU. I remember leaving that theater going, "What the fuck did I just watch? That shit was amazing," right? I still get in an elevator and I look around, I'm like, does anybody want to get off? Like, I love that. I'll never forget Winter Soldier and my reaction to it, and especially even the freaking car scene with Samuel L. Jackson in the truck stuck and all these guys going after. Oh, dude, that was incredible.
Hmm.
Um, do I need to mention Civil War? Really? Captain America Civil War, classic. So to me, Captain America, just putting the title on there, I get that Steve might not be in there, but with Falcon, the new Captain America there, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with that title. So I'm looking forward to Captain America New World Order and again Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
Al, how about yourself, man? What movie or Disney Plus show you looking forward to in Phase 5?
Actually, I was gonna say the same one, only because if you look at the movies leading up to Captain America, they're
Hmm.
all more space based. I mean, you have
That's true.
or some kind of dimension based because you start off with Ant-Man, so you're going to be dealing with Kang and all of that. He's going to bring all of that into it. Then from there, we're going to the Guardians, so back in space, and then the Marvels. So I'm expecting that to be something about space and maybe dimensions and so forth.
Right.
And then from there, you go to Captain America. So, what is it that happens after those movies and in Captain America's movie that
Hmm.
brings it back home, back to Earth? Because then from there, it's the next big movie is I think Thunderbolts. So, and again, you're dealing with a group of super soldiers, yes, but Earth-based characters.
Right.
So something happens either between the Marvels and Captain America or in Captain America that brings the story back home. So I'm just curious what those events with this new world order is it going to be the Skrulls?
Hmm.
Do we find out that the Skrulls, for some reason, even though we helped them, have decided to start, implanting themselves in aspects of societies, and
Right.
then this is us trying to deal with that. So that would be cool, and then I don't know if New World is Secret Invasion before or after Captain America. I don't know the
Yeah. So Ant-Man and then Secret Invasion comes out like maybe in March or April.
yeah, see, because then you got Guardians and everything. So I'm just even more so than curious, what are the events of Captain America
Right.
that takes us from being out in space and dealing with all that to back home.
Right.
So, it's going to be a big transition. What causes that to happen? What's the big event home that happens?
Mm.
So I'm interested in that because as much as it's great visually to see these space battles and so forth, to your point, all of the major turning points in these phases have been in the Captain America movies. And
Hmm.
you just laid them out great right there.
Yeah.
So I want to see what's the transition that this Captain America movie brings and in what direction, because then from there you're talking about Thunderbolts, Blade. Blade's another one I can't wait to see because
Yeah.
how do they bring him into the mix?
Hmm.
Is it going to be him and what's it, Dark
The
Knight,
Black
Black
Knight.
Knight? You know, um, and then from there, if I understand correctly, is Deadpool 3? Is he in this phase?
I mean, from what I'm hearing, it's supposed to be part of Phase 6,
Oh,
but
he's
it might
phase
be
6
its own
because
separate thing. But we're not
okay.
sure. Yeah.
Because if you were going to end this phase with like a Deadpool and a Blade movie,
Hmm.
I'd really want to see how what are we, again, this overarch of a story.
Hmm.
What is it going to be that you're talking about a transition from one phase to the other, and you're doing it with Blade and Deadpool?
Right.
You
Yeah,
know,
man. And now, I have a series of questions, and because I know you guys are not experts, but I would love to hear your opinions on this because I keep thinking about this, which is there's a couple of things, and of course we have forget the what we left off with Shang-Chi and the Eternals and all these different things that we're like we don't have resolutions to a lot of things. We're still going to move forward, right? One of the big things that they kind of brought up in Phase 4, and it's not me. It's not me. It's Marvel. Marvel did this shit, right? You don't play the X-Men theme when you say there's a mutation in your body, right? You don't do the X-Men theme, right? You don't then in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness show me Professor X. You don't now then show me Namor or Namor,
Namor.
and he says he's a mutant. And then I'm looking at Phase 5, and I'm like, are we seriously not about to talk about X-Men for like 4 years more? Like,
Yup.
that's what it's looking like. Yeah.
like I'm looking at the lineup here, and I'm like, where are Cyclops and Wolverine fitting in this shit? Like, and I don't see it. Like, I could see maybe in Loki season 2, but not only the X-Men guys, but also this is supposed to be the multiverse saga. I'm looking at these things. I don't see anything that's multiversal. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe Loki season 2, which is actually more of a maybe than not, right? Loki season 2, I can see it being multiversal. Everything else is home base and like with real world stuff. I don't see that. So Al, tell me, man, do you see any opportunities for X-Men in this, or do you see opportunities for more mutants to show up, or how about the whole multiverse saga here?
That's the thing. The only one that I can really see bringing it would be Blade.
Right,
Like,
because where the hell we getting vampires from?
yeah, like is he not really a vampire? Are they going to maybe say he's a mutant and his abilities are mutant, mutations?
Right.
Um, like, is that how they're going to adapt him to this new,
Hmm.
more realistic version of the MCU? Because then other than that, the only one would be a Deadpool. So
Right.
are they really going to leave X-Men? Like you said, you finished out this phase with so many clues and drips and drabs of X-Men.
Or
Like,
mutants,
yeah, they're
period,
coming.
right?
Wait. Here's the theme. They're coming. They're definitely coming. Fuck it. Here's Professor X. You know, and to not continue your introduction of more characters and how the mutants are being like, none of these movies lend to that. So
Right.
I really want to see how they're gonna layer this in and give us what I what I'm only imagining is they're trying to make the introduction that much more plausible as opposed to just dumping them in.
Right.
So that's why we're getting so many little dribs and drabs. You know, Professor X was from another universe.
Hmm.
Now you got Namor, who's always been labeled, I think, the first mutant.
The first mutant, yeah.
Yeah, so you're gonna maybe have his storyline or something come out, you know, in dribs and drabs like that. Like you said, we're getting little things here and there. And if you are going to stretch out X-Men until 2026 or 2025, unfortunately, it's going to be through these little drabs of all these
Hmm.
other shows and movies.
Yeah. Brandon, what about you, man? What's your thoughts on there with no X-Men in sight, or I mean, the most I think multiversal we're gonna get is, we get Kang right
Yeah.
off the bat in the first movie of Phase 5. And then again, I said Loki season 2, I can see there being some multiverse stuff going on in there. Are you seeing anything multiversal or
You
mutant
know,
related?
I think everything's coming in stride. I honestly don't think we're getting X-Men for the next until the next phase. Not phase, but like the next set of phases.
Got you.
Just like the way we're leading up to Secret Wars, I feel like
Hmm.
Secret Wars is gonna be the thing that doesn't reset, but causes something to happen. You
Hmm.
know, the blending of realities, because we still don't know where a Fantastic Four are coming from. You know,
No. Yeah.
so like they would have been here by now. You know, like so. I'm assuming that Fantastic Four is going to lead into the reasoning where our X-Men are coming from. I think Secret Wars is going to be the first time we see an X-Men.
Wow.
I don't think we're going to see an X-Men up until that point, and then we're going to get a movie after that. But I feel like, like if I really think about the first trilogy, the Infinity Saga,
Right.
the Infinity Stones showed up here and there. They weren't everywhere. And then Thanos was just like a end credit here. He showed up in Avengers for a second, like
Hmm.
he was kind of there, but Infinity Stones just showed up in a couple movies. And for some of them, they weren't even the highlight of them. Just
Hmm.
Guardians and Thor, and we didn't even know the either was the Infinity Stone until the end. So I feel like the whole multiverse thing is gonna be what Phase 6 is all about.
All right.
We're gonna get to the multiverse part of it. Like Loki's probably gonna explore it even more, like you said. I think what ends up happening as a result of Ant-Man is
Hmm.
gonna open up the multiversal war to actually happen. You know, um,
Okay.
and I think Phase 6 is gonna be where we get the multiversal war as of
Hmm.
Kang Dynasty. I think everything's just gonna lead into Kang Dynasty, and that's where the big multiverse thing's gonna happen.
Mm.
Gotcha, man. And I'm also, now I don't want to say shocked, but I am a little surprised that there is no Shang-Chi 2. That it's not in this phase. That there will looks like they're willing to wait to phase 6 for Shang-Chi 2. I'm hoping that we see Shang-Chi somewhere in one of these movies. I mean, I would love to see him in the Thunderbolts movie, or even Secret Invasion, maybe. I mean, like I can't even envision Shang-Chi being a part of this. And I'm like, that was one of the first movies in Phase 4. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
and
it
one of
was
their
Black
biggest
Widow,
movies.
and one
I
of the biggest
I
ones,
think
right?
it's a Simu Liu problem.
Oh, you think he's talking
I
himself too
think he's
much?
talking too much.
I've been thinking the same thing. I'm like, this guy is he's feeling himself right now. He
He's
was
been
like
feeling himself
nobody
since that
like two
movie.
weeks ago.
He was a nobody before that movie. That guy was doing ads. Like he was in all the printer magazines. So like I think he's feeling himself a little too much. And I think that's what's biting him right now. I feel
Yeah.
like I feel like he might show up in the Marvels as the bangle is the thing that gives off the beacon to his bangles, and I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny when I saw the bangles or the freaking bracelets. Um, I thought they kind of looked similar to some of the stuff that I saw in Quantumania, where Kang is in whatever he is.
Yeah, and it was like 5 tiers, right?
Yeah, and it was like little circles that had the writings on the side too, and I'm like, hey, those look like the things there.
Yeah.
I don't, I know we're gonna see Miss Marvel. Excuse me, my voice turned into Kermit the Frog there.
Is that what Ant-Man's stealing?
Right? What is he stealing? I don't know, and it's very interesting. I mean, look, of course, our hands are in Feige right now. We're like, we trust you, Feige.
Hey, we got Iger back.
Yeah, that was a big one. But it's like, I don't know. I want to see. It's weird, right? Because we always want what we want, but then sometimes what we don't want is what we should have, right? I want the old Phase 2, Phase 3 Marvel, and Phase 4 for me was just like, come on, man.
I mean, realistically, I thought about this the other day, and Phase 1 wasn't that good. Like, Phase 1 really
hit or miss
wasn't that good.
Come on, Iron Man,
but
Captain
okay,
America, Avengers,
Thor.
Thor was good.
Thor was good. The Incredible Hulk.
Incredible Hulk.
Thor was not that good, guys. Thor was okay.
I like Thor.
Thor had one really good scene. That was him flexing to pick up Mjolnir, right? And then tell me, Iron Man 2, was that really that good?
No.
But that was Phase 1.
I think more pluses than negatives, though.
Right? So I feel like each phase had like 1 or 2 standouts until we got to Phase 3. Phase 3 was like it was crazy. But Phase 1 and 2
Civil
was
War,
like
Black Panther.
Right? I mean, like, if I think about it, like Phase 2, we got Ant-Man, Captain America 2,
we can't forget Spider-Man.
Spider-Man happened. There. Well, that was still like a Sony thing, so that didn't really count. And then,
come on, it counts.
Spider-Man was Phase 3, technically.
Well,
because he was Civil War.
Civil War.
Yeah. Civil War was in Phase 3.
Oh,
so then Spider-Man happened in Phase 3. So, like, technically, Phase 2 only had, like, Guardians 1, Cap 2, and Ant-Man. And everything else is kind of garbage.
Yeah. Oh.
Because that was Thor 2, that was Iron Man 3, right?
Yeah.
Those are all garbage. And then Avengers 2? Come on, Avengers 2.
Maybe I'm just remembering it like it was.
Age of Ultron was garbage.
Movies in the past were just made better.
So I think Phase 3 spoiled us. I think that's what happened.
Phase 3 definitely spoiled the shit out of us, man. Come on now. Oh, man. Yeah, man. I mean, listen, Phase 5, I think it's going to be amazing. It's going to be great. I got, like I said, I got high hopes. I just want some questions answered, and I want you to stop cock teasing mutants.
Just bring them out.
Just bring them out already. Come on, show them. Put them on the table, son.
They're gonna give you someone stupid. They're gonna give you something real stupid.
Yeah. What was the guy from She-Hulk? The guy who lived forever?
His name, Mr. Man. Immortal.
Mr. Immortal. Yeah, thanks. Keep that guy.
They're gonna give us like Jubilee.
Oh. God,
I got fireworks in my fingers.
Yellow trench coat and those weird sunglasses.
Dude, that's all we're getting. We're getting Jubilee for like 5 years.
Don't put that out.
We're getting Dazzler. We're getting
Dazzler. Dude, I would if that starts happening, I'm like, yo, you know what? Get those people from Talocan to just start singing. I'll just jump off a building. Jesus. Listen, before we head out, in the last 2 weeks, I definitely wanted to mention, because we are movie fans, but we're also pop culture fans. Brandon was a huge Power Ranger fan growing up. And Al and Brandon especially, and myself, we're huge Batman fans, and Batman the animated show, and also Batman video games as well, and also some of the DC universe. What is it? What, Brandon? What do they call the DC? is it the cartoon universe or the
DCEU, right?
no, not EU,
Oh,
but the cartoons one. What are they
yeah, I
called?
think that was like DC animated.
It was something new. They had
Yeah,
their own little universe where almost all the movies were connected, pretty much. And so, in the last 2 weeks, we did lose John David Frank, the
Jason
fantastic. I'm sorry, what is his name?
David Frank.
The Jason David Frank, the Green Ranger. You know, if there was one Ranger I always remembered, it was the White Ranger.
He was the White Ranger too, actually.
Exactly. And then he turned it. Then he was the Green Ranger also. And then he's always came back to do other episodes. Like my kids watch Power Rangers, and it's the newer ones. And even in those episodes, there's an episode where the Green Ranger shows up. You know, like it's so cool to see him. And then my kids get to see who he is also. But we lost Jason David Frank there, and then we also lost the voice of the Batman, and he actually played Batman in one of the multiverse things for the Flash. Kevin Conroy, man. We're losing some good ones, man. Al, did any one of those two speak to you in any way, to your heart, man?
Well, just Kevin Conroy, just for like you said, just mostly associating him with being the voice of Batman,
Oh yeah.
and even because a lot of times, obviously when you're watching these shows, you're watching them and you're taking them everything in. But a lot of times, I don't know about you, I'll throw some of these movies on. I'll just have them on in the background, and after a while, sometimes you just associate the voice with the character, especially with an animated. You're more so it's the voice you're taking in, um, and the way he conveyed the emotion and the power of Batman simply through his voice, and you always could feel the scene, even if like I said in my case, even when you weren't looking at the scene, you still felt the impact of the scene just through the way he voiced the character. So it's sad when you lose somebody like that had been doing it for so long. It wasn't like it was a different person, voicing Batman. There was a reason why they brought this guy back almost every time.
Yeah.
So it's a shame to lose something like that. But like they always say, it's too soon. So would have loved to have had him stick around a little longer.
Selfishly, I the
Yeah,
same way.
yeah.
Yeah.
But all the best to his family and friends, and what they must be going through right now.
Absolutely, man. Because especially like with Kevin Conroy, man, I would watch a Batman animated show or a Batman animated movie, and it could be one of these new movies that they put out all the time, like Batman versus the Arkham 13. And I'm like, what? But you hear the voice and you just smile. I don't think he did that one, but I think he did the Killing Joke is one that he did for sure.
He did the Arkham
Um,
series, the
he
that
did the
video
Arkham
game.
series. Oh, the
Yeah,
video games, right? When I
yeah.
would hear his voice in the video games, I'd smile all the time, like that's my boy. And I know one of my moments, like watching The Flash. I used to love watching The Flash. I stopped watching The Flash recently, like maybe 2-3 years ago, because it just got stupid and corny. But they
Yeah.
did the multiverse war, not a war, but it was what
Crisis.
was it, Brandon?
The Crisis on
Infinite Earths.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember, that's when we got the Flash versus, not Flash versus Flash, but we saw Flash with another Flash from the movie universe. And then there was a universe where Kevin Conroy was Batman, and I was like, oh, he got to wear the suit, or he looked, he was Bruce Wayne.
Mhm.
He lost his fucking mind, but yeah, it was a bad Batman. But at the same time, it was like awesome that he got that opportunity to play him in a live version. I've always seen what he looks like, and it's always the two things you always want in a Batman is Kevin Conroy voicing Batman and freaking Luke Skywalker playing Joker. I forgot his name now.
Mark Hamill.
Mark
Hamill.
Yeah.
You always want Mark Hamill playing the Joker. So yeah, man, like Al said, he couldn't say it any better, man. Rest in peace to these two guys, and our well wishes to the family and friends of these two actors there. B, talk to me, man. Any one of these two, man.
Both of them, man. It's been a rough 2 weeks for me. I'm gonna cry thinking about it. But like with Kevin Conroy, like he is Batman, and from the Batman animated series to the Batman and Robin animated series to the Justice League to Justice League Unlimited to every DC animated movie, he was Batman. He was the epitome of Batman. And no disrespect to Peter Cullen, the voice of Optimus Prime, but like I thought there was no better voice actor on the planet than Kevin Conroy. Even like they did a short maybe like 10 years ago with Kevin Conroy and Tim Daly. And if you don't know, Tim Daly was the voice of Superman in the Superman animated series.
Right.
And so he was the voice of Superman for, a decade or so as well. And so they did a short where the two of them were like dads and hanging out, and they both just started using their iconic voices on each other, and they fought each other, and it was like the coolest thing. And so like those two, like Tim Daly and Kevin Conroy, they are superheroes to me. And, same thing, like Kevin Conroy, he passed away from cancer, and he was going through it for a couple years. And even in that time, he was still playing Batman for a new series that's coming out. He was doing all of these things, going all of these Comic-Cons. He's been doing them for decades just for the fans because he knows how much it means. He shared a story. There was an interview recently that came out that he did in which during 9/11, he had went and worked in a soup kitchen, and he was giving back to the people in New York. And, someone identified his voice, and he came out and was like, yeah, I'm Batman. Like, for everybody there. And it was like a cool moment. And then Jason David Frank, that's my Power Ranger. He was my favorite Power Ranger, the Green Ranger, the White Ranger, the Red Ranger, the Black Ranger. He was all of them. He was great. And, he was the reason I did martial arts. Him and Jean-Claude Van Damme were the reason I did all my kicks. I never liked to punch anybody. I always kicking people in the side of the face. And so they were the reason I did that, and
right.
I will shamelessly tell everybody on the planet, I watched Power Rangers until I was like 15 years old. Cause like Power Rangers, anytime he was there, I'm like, oh shit, I gotta watch that. Like, like he's on the show. What's he doing? So I would watch. So I remember I was like in high school, and I would just get ready in the morning, and Power Rangers was on, but it was him, and I was like, all right, I'll watch this. Like, just don't tell my girlfriend, but I'll watch this right now. And so like to know that he, just like Kevin Conroy, doing cons for decades, going to all the Power Rangers conventions, doing all of these things for the fans. He was
still acting in those Power Rangers shows.
Acting in Power Ranger shows. He recently came back like last year to do a Power Rangers episode. He's the person who brings all the other people back to do things because he tells them it's for the fans. They idolize you. You got to give back to them. He's the person who pushed the series forward. I don't think we would still have Power Rangers without him. And, and that's great because like, I bawled like a baby a couple years ago because your son was watching Power Rangers and they had remade the original Mighty Morphin, and he was a fan of it. He has the Green Ranger sitting on your cabinet, and I'm just sitting there, I'm like, that's my fucking childhood. Like, and like it's continuing, it's going, it's awesome. And like I got to share that with my godson, and I was like, this is the coolest thing on earth, and if it wasn't for him, I would not have that memory with my godson. And so, props to both of these people, and their families for what they're going through. Thank you for letting us have them and for everything they did for us.
Wow. Well said, Brandon, man. And no better way to end it right there on this podcast, man, with Brandon's take, man. It's beautiful, man. So listen, we are the Real Fan Review. We are from Long Island, New York, but doesn't mean that we don't like to share our love with the world because we see everybody who's downloading us and the subscribers that we're getting here. So thank you guys for that. If you are not a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button on the YouTube. We talk about movies, movie news, movie rumors, Marvel, MCU, DCEU, all those things, all the big popular thing. And I think the thing that's coming up soon is probably going to be Avatar. So I believe next week we'll be talking about Avatar to get us ready to see Avatar 2, The Way of Water.
The Way of Water is wet.
Spoiler alert.
It's water's wet.
Water's wet. If you're listening on a podcast play app, hit the plus symbol. That way we come to you every single week when we put out a podcast. And again, guys, we appreciate you. So listen, have a good night. We'll see you on the next podcast. Until next time.